Hello, fourth graders. Glad to be back with you again today, talking about the tiger rising. In our packets, we left off with chapters 23 and 24, and we left off with antonyms, synonyms, and homonyms at the top of the paper. And I did not go over the question at the bottom. I actually did, but I cut it off the video because it really didn't make sense. Anyway, it says in chapter 25, Willie Mae makes the comment, sometimes right don't count. Do you feel that Willie Mae is right? Defend your answer. Now that's kind of weird. Sometimes right don't count. So I'm going to read from the book for you about this situation. It is on, it's in chapter 25 on page 95. Tell Rob that he shouldn't unlock the cage and let him, that he should unlock the cage and let him go, Sistine demanded. I ain't, said Willie Mae. You got to ask yourself what's going to happen if this tiger, after you let him go, how's he going to live? Rob was flooded with sad relief. Willie Mae wasn't going to make him do it. He wasn't going to lose that tiger. Panthers live in these woods, argued Sistine. They survive. Used to, said Willie Mae. Don't no more. Sistine put her hands on her hips. You're not saying what you believe, she accused. You're not talking like a prophetess. That's 'cause I ain't no prophetess, said Willie Mae. All I am is somebody speaking the truth. And the truth is, there ain't nothing you can do for this tiger except let it be. It's not right, said Sistine. Right ain't got nothing to do with it, muttered Willie Mae. Sometimes right don't count. Now, in this situation, it's talking about locking up an animal or caging an animal. And some of you, lots of animal rights groups, think that it's not good to have zoos and have animals caged up and out of their habitat. So that's kind of a hard question to answer, but that is what that's referring to when she says sometimes right don't count. Okay, so moving on to our questions for chapter 25 and 6. Number 1, Willie Mae says, one person in the world that don't need to be owning no tiger, and that's Beauchamp. What do you think there was about Beauchamp that gave her this opinion? Well, I think that Willie Mae thinks that he's not really responsible. He didn't take care of his motel very well, and he's having a young child take care of a tiger. So I think he's probably not responsible enough. That's what Willie Mae thinks anyway. All right, question number 2. What was Willie Mae's reason for not releasing the tiger? Willie Mae, her question was, how's it going to live? How's it going to live out in the woods? And then part B said, what did Willie Mae say was the only thing that they could do for the tiger? And she just said to let it be. Number 3, what caused Sistine to lash out at Rob and say such hurtful things to him? She said a lot of mean things to Rob, and she really didn't mean it. She was very mad. Sometimes we say things when we're mad. But Rob had told Sistine that her dad wasn't coming and that he was a liar. And that's what caused her to lash out. Number 4, how was Rob's plan to release the tiger in chapter 26 interrupted? What happened is he goes to tell Sistine that he's going to release the tiger. Someone pulls up. Number 5, Sistine makes the statement that she feels Beauchamp is afraid of the tiger. What clue do we have in chapter 19 that she might be right? Now I'm going to back it up a little bit, and I'm going to read in chapter 19. It's page 71. Beauchamp swung himself out of the Jeep with a grunt. He reached in the back seat for the grocery bag, took out a piece of meat, bent over, and unlocked the tiny door, opened it, threw the meat in. The tiger leaped forward, and Beauchamp took a quick step back, stumbling. That's all there is to it, he said, straightening up. His forehead was shiny with sweat, and his hands were trembling. Well, that's a clue right there that he's nervous around the tiger if his forehead was sweating and his hands were trembling as he was trying to show Rob how to feed it. All right, number 6. We find the first reference to the title of the novel in chapter 25, and it's when Willie Mae says, I would love to see this tiger rise up out of the cage. Perhaps the title is an example of foreshadowing, and if so, how might the tiger rise up out of the cage? Well, foreshadowing is just like an author giving you clues or a hint about what might happen later on in the story. So in this one, if she says the tiger, I would love to see the tiger rise up out of the cage, what do you think that means might happen later on in the story? How's it going to get out of the cage? Think of some ways it could get out of the cage. It could be released. It could escape on its own. It might die. Any of those things you could write down. Okay, the next section is a language activity. And basically, it's compound words. Try to reassemble the word parts listed below into 8 compound words found in these chapters. And if you can't look back in the chapter, just try to match some words together to make compound words. It's just reviewing the skill about compound words. I'm going to try to find a video for you guys to look at on compound words if you have trouble with that one. Okay, I'll see you next time for the packet review.